So what we're going to do is epoxy the pens. So I'll show you how to mix your epoxy. If you bought the attachment, hopefully yours attached to the PVC pipe. My PVC pipes are a little larger, so I had to do a different attachment. And I don't want to take it off to show you, but I'll show it when I post the videos after everything has, or excuse me, not the videos, pictures after everything has dried. I'll show the attachment that I'm using on mine as well, on the back of here. But if you don't have this attachment, again, you can get your styrofoam, what do you call it? The pool noodle, cut it in half or just a quarter. Take some strong straws to it, and then you can use this as your holder. So then you'll, it has the holes in it, right? So you'll just put that onto your tumbler turner as well. You all should have a mask, right? So you can get these off of Amazon, and want to make sure that, you are protecting yourself, because the epoxy, is potent, and it does cause cancer. It can cause cancer, right? So just make sure that you're protecting yourself at all times. And I'm just trying to make this a little larger. Are you all able to see this really well? It's just showing up on my screen really.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I don't know why tonight it's just not coming into the middle of the screen here. But okay, as long as you can see, then I'm fine with it. So, and then you have your epoxy. So again, this is the Amazing Clear epoxy, and it has 2 bottles inside, your part A, part B. We'll mix that together. You should have your gloves, right? And then your cup that you're going to mix in, along with your popsicle stick. You can cut these in half, or you could just use the whole stick and discard it. The cup, again, I did send a link out after the last session to show you all where I order the cups from. And they have all the measurements on the side of the cup as well. So we'll go ahead and get started. What I did do, I epoxied 2 pens yesterday, because I want to put words on them tonight to show you. So tomorrow, or whatever day you want to complete this, you can, if you're going to put words or names or anything like that on. This is a pen that I did it as a wood grain. So I epoxied it last night. And sorry, this is just really killing me, because it's not, I can't see what I'm showing you all. And I don't know what's going on with the video. But it's just not big on my screen. Give me 1 second here. Well, okay, so I'll just keep it like this, so I can actually see a little bit better. But again, this is a wood grain. So all I did was I took one of the regular pens, I spray painted it white, and then I did the alcohol ink brush effect and made it look like a wood grain pen. And so again, yesterday I put a coat of epoxy on it, a thin coat, because I want to put a name on here or a word or saying. So what I'm going to do is show y'all This is the vinyl that I have cut out to put on here. This is the name of a business. So I'm going to put this on the pen. So I have my little transfer tape. And again, so tonight, you know, we'll go over how to do the epoxying, right, on the pens. And you'll want yours to run through the night or, you know, a couple hours and let it set. And then tomorrow you can come back and complete it by putting words on it and then going back over it with another layer of epoxy. So, and then again, you may just want to keep them plain like this, right? So again, here is the word, and I'm just trying to think which side, how do I want it? If I'm holding the pen this way, I'll start from the bottom. So all I'm going to do is just like you would do anything else with a tumbler or a shirt, you know, you're just going to lay it, the wording on, or the letters, right? And then press it down to get it onto the pen. And then this one has like a curved S on it. So I just rolled it around some so I can make sure that all of the words, or the letters, I should say, adhere to the pen. And because this is dry, again, I did this one last night. I let it run through the night. So normally when I epoxy at nighttime, I let my machines run through the night. And then I'll turn it off, you know, once I wake up in the morning. And that's what I normally do for all of my tumblers or whatever I am putting epoxy on. And part of this tape tore and it is on here. I think I can feel it. Okay, I feel it back here. Okay. All right. So I have placed the wording on here, and you probably can't see it too well, but it is in orange also because this logo or this company's name, the base of it is brown, and then any wording that they have on is in an orange. So that's what I tried to mimic here. Okay. So what we're going to go ahead and do now, I'm going to put this back on, put my gloves on, show you all how to measure your epoxy, and then we'll start epoxying. And let me turn the machine on. Now, don't be like me tonight, because I want you all to be able to hear and see. I won't put my mask on, but as you're doing it, please always wear your mask, okay? And again, this won't take long at all to show you how to do this also. But if I was going to be, say, doing a bunch of alcohol ink tumblers with epoxy, then I would wear my mask, or, you know, any other time. I'll put my gloves on first because sometimes when you're using the epoxy, depends on how well you close your lid, or if your hands are sticky from touching before, you may have epoxy on the bottles. So I just always try to make sure I put my gloves on first before even touching the bottles, because I don't like that scent. Like that scent, once it gets on your hands, sometimes the stickiness is hard to get off. So I normally try to, I'll use Dawn dish detergent first to wash my hands. Then I'll go over it with some acetone, you know, your nail polish remover, but pure acetone, try and get some of the extra stickiness off. I've even put lemon juice on, just because that scent sometimes just gets into your skin or whatever, and it stays there. Even though you wash, it still kind of stays there for a minute. So just always get in the habit of using your gloves. So again, you have your part A and your part B. And it is labeled on the bottles as part A. Okay, and then the other bottle says part B. When you're doing this and you get ready to measure out, I will tell you, open one bottle at a time, because I have before taken both off at the same time, the tops off, placed them near each other. I didn't know which top was which. And when I went to use it again, it was stuck, right? Because it had some of the remnants of epoxy in the top part, and it adhered to the opposite bottle. So just be very careful. So now I just open one at a time. Now, some people will tell you you have to measure out epoxy into 2 different cups, and then you get a 3rd cup and combine it all. I don't do that. To me, that's just a waste. So I measure everything in 1 cup. So for these 4 pens, I will tell you, you could probably get 5 to 6 pens epoxy with 5 mLs. Okay, so because we're going to do a total of 5 mLs, we're going to split that in half. So I'm going to do 2.5 mLs of part A and then 2.5 mLs of part B. Okay, so everything is always halved when you dealing with epoxy. So I'm going to take it and measure it out. I'm just going to turn the light on for a quick second here. And like I said, you'll see this glare, and that was just killing me. So I'm going to just measure it out so I can see from the side. And all I'm going to do is pour 2 mLs into this cup first. And part A comes out a little thick. What some people do too is they will run their bottles. Okay, they will run their bottles under hot water to kind of thin it out some, because part A is really thick, part B is liquidy, a little thinner, right? So when I pour this out, I always try to twist when I'm just nearing the mLs that I need to pour into, because I want to make sure the excess goes back down into the bottle versus going around the rim. Because too, I don't want this to get stuck around the rim too, because it's too much epoxy that's sitting out. So if you notice where it's sticky or it looks wet around your rim here, just have paper towel ready, or you could use your gloved hand and just go around the rim and push the excess back down. But you want to make sure that that stays clean on the outside too, so your lids or your tops don't stick. Otherwise, you'll be heading back to the store, or you'll have to cut the bottle to pour this out into something else to be able to use it. All right, so for part B, I'm just going to put 2.5, so 2.5. So all I need to do, because right now this is 2 mLs, I just need to get it up to the 5 line. Okay. And again, this comes out pretty quick. And like I said, it's liquidy. So just be real careful when you're pouring this out, the part B. And then you're supposed to stir this for like 4 to 5 minutes. If it's really cold outside and you're doing it in your garage, then you might want to take your heat gun, and once you pour it in here, just warm up your cup a little bit with the heat gun, and that kind of makes it the process go a little quicker with trying to mix this together, right? Now there is, and all you're going to do is just continue to stir, okay? And right now you can see it's pretty thick, right? So once we get this mixed together really well, it'll be pretty thinned out to where it's kind of running. So you're supposed to stir very slow and diligently, but for 4 to 5 minutes or 5 to 6 minutes, something like that. I just stir if you get a lot of bubbles. And so the thing is, you're trying to stir to get this one activated together, right? Because you have your part A and part B. So I stir, and because 9 times out of 10, I'm using my heat gun and doing alcohol inks or whatever, the bubbles are covered, right? So if you tend to stir really fast and you see you have a lot of bubbles, Then you'll want to take your butane. The heat gun is not going to pop your bubbles. It's the other one. So it's like the little butane gun, and I have that upstairs. But you could just take it and flick it over where you have bubbles at, and it'll pop your bubbles. And that way you'll have a real clear, crystal clear finish. Now, when you're doing like glitter and these kind of things, you know, the little bubbles aren't going to be shown because you have glitter. The background is glitter. But if it was completely clear or something white that you were epoxying, then I'll tell you, take your time and make sure that you stir this very well so that you have minimal bubbles in here. So as I stir, I just keep scraping around the cup too. So if there's any excess that has bumped up, I just want to incorporate it all and get it all stirred in. There are various kinds of epoxy that you can use. I've only used this Amazing Clear. I purchased it at Michael's. I think all the stores carry it, like your Hobby Lobby, Joann's. I know in addition to other brands too. And again, I did mention before that I want to try the UV resin for these pens. I've seen where, you know, you put the epoxy on, it's supposed to not have a scent. You put it under the UV light and it cures your pen within minutes. So that is something else that I will try as well. Okay, so I think I've gotten it mixed pretty well. And so that you can kind of see inside the cup without me spilling this out. But as you can see, it's just running now, right? So you want to get to that kind of consistency. And again, 5 mLs really should cover 5 to 6 pens because you're not putting this on thick. You're going to put a thin coat on your very first time. And then, like I said, you'll lay your word or your name or quote or whatever on the pen. And then you'll go back over it again, the same process. So tonight, we'll epoxy the glitter ones. You'll let it run through the night. Tomorrow, you'll put your word on and then put another thin coat of epoxy on. So this exact same process. After that one's on and it runs, that's it. Then let it sit. I let my pen sit, you know, 24, 48 hours. A fully cured pen or tumbler or whatever you're epoxying is 72 hours. So if you're making this for someone, please don't send it out of your home until it has set for 72 hours, because that's when you want to make sure it's truly cured. If it's not, it'll be bumpy, sticky, you know, and that means that your ratio was off. So you always do, if you want to do 10 mLs, you'll do 5 of part A, 5 of part B. Okay. All right. So when I use for pens, of course, I use my fingers, right, to smooth it on. When I'm doing tumblers, I still use my fingers to smooth, but I pour it onto the tumbler from the cup. But for this, when I'm using pens, I dip my finger into the cup. Okay. Now, under my turners here, I do have silicone mats. So these mats are catching all of the excess drippage that may occur. And normally you have the drippage when you're doing like tumblers. You shouldn't really have any drippage from these pens because you're going to put a thin coat on, right? So there should be nothing falling off of it. So I just dip my finger in, get pretty good on there, and I just start to go over the pen. Okay, and you know, as it's turning, you have to kind of adjust yourself with it as well. And all I'm doing is making sure that I get a good coat onto the pen for the first go round. And as you're doing this too, you will be able to feel whether or not it's really coated. If it still feels kind of rough and dry, then you've missed an area on the pen. Like you can probably hear this. That's because I haven't touched it yet with epoxy. But once you put a coat of epoxy on it, it gets very smooth, shiny, And even under your finger, you know, you can feel it being completely smooth. Now, when you're doing this, I don't know if you're going to do multiple colors or try and do one set of colors at, you know, all at once first. And what I probably should have done was epoxy the wood grain one first, because some of the glitter is in the cup, right? From me dipping my finger in and using. So what I may end up doing, because I don't want to put glitter on that because it's for a mill, I may do a little quick coat, right? Another coat in another cup of epoxying, just so I'm not putting glitter on that. And then hopefully you all can see. And let me just pull the camera up a little closer so you can see the process better. Can y'all see? Okay, so I've gotten the black one covered, and you can kind of see as it comes back around, it's pretty shiny. Last night I did the turquoise one, so now I'll put it onto the pink. And again, you'll see on my fingers, you can see some of the pink glitter and some of the black glitter. So if you are not doing one solid or one color at a time, meaning you're gonna color 5 pens that are black, come back and do another day, you know, pink or whatever, then you may want to just pour this or put the epoxy in one of the little squeeze bottles that has a little nozzle that you can get from Dollar Tree. They sell them 2 in a pack. You can pour your epoxy in that, and that way you can squeeze it out on the pen versus dipping your fingers in. And that way you won't be transferring glitter from one pen to the other, right? Especially when it's different colors. And then because this is going to be a two-part process of the epoxying, you know, whatever you don't cover tonight, meaning if you miss a spot or you come back tomorrow when you want to put your, you know, the word on, if you feel, okay, there is a spot that is just dry, you can either put another clear coat of epoxy on that pen first and let that, you know, dry and come back the next day, or you can still put your lettering on and you can cover that spot with the word, right? And then you're going to go ahead and put epoxy over it again, and therefore you can fully cover it. So again, you'll feel it. You'll feel the difference. Like it's pretty smooth to touch, and just eyeing it, it looks well covered. So if it's not, you will feel the dryness. Now, I do have, you know, I still have epoxy left, right? So I have enough that we'll do another 2 or 3 pens, but I'm going to go ahead and dispose of this, and I'm going to just make a little another small batch, just so I can not put glitter on that wood grain one. And that's just shame on me because I should have did that one first. So when I want to dispose of my gloves and take everything off, this is what I do. So I'll put my my popsicle stick inside the cup. I'll pull off one glove because I'm trying not to touch. I don't want it to touch my skin or anything. And I'll put this all into this one glove. Then I'll take the other glove and wrap everything up into one. And that's how I dispose of it so that nothing gets on my hands. I just, again, you know, for those of you who may have joined late, I just don't like that scent. I don't want it touching my skin. A lot of people are allergic to this too. So if you start to itch, then you might be allergic to the epoxy. So there are some ladies who are allergic to it, but they will still use it. They just make sure they're fully gloved. They'll wear long sleeves so that, there's like no skin available for anything to get on. They'll wear glasses, and then of course the full mask, right? So I've even seen to where a lady has wrapped her neck, with a scarf, because the fumes from this sometimes can be pretty overbearing, right? And again, if it touches your skin, then it can cause a reaction. So you just see what works best for you when it comes down to epoxying. So give me 1 second. I'm going to get another set of gloves, cup, and a popsicle stick so I can do just a couple more drops for that one pen. Now this this tumbler turner, I don't know, most of you may have gone to my YouTube page, and you probably have seen this out there. If not, I'll put my link in there too, so you can go out to the YouTube page. But I do have a video out there showing you how to build your own tumbler turner, right? So this one I built. This is an 8 tumbler turner board. And I'll pull it back some so you can see, but it is 8 turners on here. So, and then I have another board back there. That's normally where I epoxy in the back. And that's another 8 board there too. So you can make these boards yourself. You can make them small where there are 1 or 2 board where you don't have to make them, 8. But when I'm doing sets for like alcohol ink sets, for like a 4-piece or a 5-piece with a flask and shot glass and all that, I need more turners so that I can get the job done a little quicker. So I do have 3 boards that I work with or that I have available, but I really only use 2 at a time. Okay. So again, if you joined a little late, you have your part A and your part B. So for this mix, I did a total of 5 mLs, and that consists of 2.5 of part A and 2.5 of part B. So, I never like to throw away any product because this stuff, costs too much money for what we buy. But for the epoxy, throwing away 2 mLs is not a big deal, not that much of a big deal. So again, once I put the epoxy into the cup, then I kind of turn the bottle a little bit so that the rest of the epoxy that was pouring out will just go back down into the hole. I don't put the lids on. I don't screw them back on really tight. I just screw them on to where it catches just enough. I used to screw it very tight, and then because the remnants of the epoxy was getting around the lid, that too caused issues with trying to open the bottle. So just be very careful. And like I stated before, take 1 top off at a time so you don't get them confused. And that also will cause the top to stick to the bottle if you put the wrong one on. And then, like I said, you'll have to cut the bottle so that you can get the epoxy out. Okay, and then like for this one, I do have some epoxy that has formed around the rim. So I'll just take my finger around it, and then I'll just put that back into the bottle. Or if I had paper towels and I don't have any down here, then I can wipe it around with paper towels as well. But I try to keep this hand clean when I'm doing epoxy in case I have to pick up something or whatever. I don't want stickiness everywhere. And then I use this hand, I'm right-handed, but I'll use this hand to, do all the epoxying with. So as you're starting to do it, get your rhythm down, do what makes you feel comfortable. But this is just how I do it. And again, this is the Amazing Clear. I purchased this at Michael's. So they have 3 sizes. This one, I want to say it's the 16-ounce box. And then you have a 32-ounce box. And then they also sell it by the gallon. And I keep saying I'm going to buy the gallon. And just that way I just have it at all times. And then of course, you know, with the gallon, you have the spout. So I just still haven't purchased it though. I just keep saying I'm going to do it. And then I just get in the store and pick up a box. So, but again, you want to thoroughly mix this around. So if your product, if it's wintertime and your product is out in your garage, because I will say you shouldn't mix this in your house just because of the fumes and the scent, right? Unless you're going to have a window open in one room, you're going to close that room door to where it's well ventilated. You really shouldn't mix this in your house. But you're going to mix it if it's, like I said, if it's wintertime and you're in your garage, and no matter, you know, where you are up north or what have you, you can just take your heat gun and just heat around the cup, not to melt it, but just to get the epoxy warmed up, and it makes a better mix for you. So it'd be a little quicker. Or you could take the bottles, run the bottles under hot water, and therefore it will heat up your epoxy. Now there are spinners that you can purchase. It is an epoxy spinner where it will mix your epoxy for you. So I did purchase one. I haven't tried it yet. I've had it for probably a couple months now, but I did purchase one from Hobby Lobby. It's like $24. But the cup size, I noticed the cup size, it seems to be just a little bigger than this size cup. So I don't know really how much it's going to be able to really hold to try and spin, but I did purchase it. I'm going to test it out and see how well it spins the epoxy too, right? So then you could just put it in there, let it go ahead and spin it for you. And when I say spin, I mean mix it. And therefore you don't have to do it. So in the beginning, of course, it was very thick, mixing it. And I'll say it again, you're supposed to mix it slow, like stirring it pretty slow, like that, to prevent bubbles, right? Little tiny bubbles throughout your epoxy. But you want to get it to where it is actually running. So at this point, this batch is ready to go, and I am going to epoxy the wood grain pen. Now, when you have your words on it, you want to make sure that you have full coverage over the words. And what I mean by that is, as you're running across, because you'll be able to feel that vinyl, you want to be able to put this epoxy on. And let me turn this off so it takes some of the glare off. Okay. You want to be able to put the epoxy on and feel, or I should say not feel, the vinyl. So whatever words you put on here, no matter how thick your vinyl is, you should not feel the words once you put your epoxy on. So if you still feel it as you're rubbing your finger across, put a little bit more on there. Because if not, once that job is done, you will have, when the person goes to use the pen, they're gonna feel the bumpiness from that vinyl, depending upon what kind of vinyl you use. It will not be smooth, but you want to have a very smooth finish so that they don't feel anything. So, and again, I use my fingers. I dip my finger into the epoxy. I'm gonna rub it first over the words and then go back over it again. And then once I have epoxy over the entire pen, then I'll go back and feel, okay, is it truly covered? Are all the letters and everything, you know, truly covered? And again, you're putting it on thin enough, but thick enough to where you don't feel the words, because you don't want to have a pen that is bulky, right? Too thick, you want it to look natural, but you want to make sure that the words are fully coated. Are there questions so far? And can y'all see? I think I brought it up too close, but I want to make sure that you can truly see this process.
I can see. Regina, have you ever used, and I know because you're talking about the bottles, have you ever used the honey bottles? I use them a lot, so that's why I'm asking, because they're so much easier to work with.
No, what's the honey bottle?
You know how, I can send you the link, but
Okay.
Amazon has them, and it's like a set of 10. I don't remember the cost of it, but they're kind of like similar to ketchup bottles, but you just pour.
Yes, with the little thin nozzle, right? It looks like a needle.
No needle.
That one. Okay.
No, just basically similar to your ketchup bottle, but you would pour epoxy in there, and it's easier to control how much you're measuring,
Right.
and what you have, and then you don't have to consistently worry about if you're mixing A or B or the tops on top of it as well. And
Right.
you can sample your own bottles yourself.
Oh yes. Send me the link to that or a picture of it, and I can look it up. Thank you. So for anyone else that's actually putting epoxy on your pens tonight, how's it going for you? Is this pretty easy for you?
I did mine yesterday, and I'm waiting for my UV to arrive so I can do the UV on Saturday.
Okay, great. And so again, I'm just trying to go over the words because I can still kind of feel that vinyl. So I'm just gonna, everything else is pretty smooth on the pen. I'm just gonna concentrate on the letters that are on here, because again, I don't want to feel the letters coming through. And as this keeps turning, your epoxy is turning on here too, right? So it will smooth out also. But I just like to get it as smooth as possible before it completes the job. So is there anyone else on here actually doing their pen tonight?
No.
No. Okay. Well, you always go back to the video, because once it downloads, then I will load it out to the page.
Okay.
You can go back and review. Or actually, so because I'm not using the Zoom attached to Facebook, it seems to take a long time to upload. So I'll upload the video to my site, my YouTube site, and then I'll send you the link to it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so it's pretty much covered. I shouldn't say pretty much, it is covered. I just want to make sure. And if you as you're eyeing it too, if you see, where one end looks like it just has too much, as long as it's clear, meaning I've already had epoxy on this, so it's not glitter, then just go back over and pull off. So as you're coating it, you're pulling it, and then you can just put it back into your cup, right? As long as it's not glitter. So I'm just eyeing the ones that we did do with glitter tonight, just to make sure that everything is covered very well, since I do have the extra here. But it looks pretty good. So again, I will let this run through the night. So I like to do a lot of my epoxying at nighttime. And I'll just keep these turning through the night, and that way they get, just about for me, 12 hours or more spin. Now, it will tell you, like when you're reading the directions and everything on the box, really with the epoxy, you really only have to run it for 6 to 7 hours. And then it should be smooth enough and dry enough to where it's not sticky, to where you can go ahead and lay down your label, your words, whatever you want to put on the cup for the design. Whether it's vinyl, a water slide, sticky paper, whatever. And then you can put another coat on top and let that spin for another 6 to 7 hours. But for me, I just like that extra assurance that it has been spinning for a long time. So I know it's just going to cure very well. So that's why I like to do it at nighttime, so that it can just run through the night. So it's getting just about 12 hours, right? Anywhere from 10 to 12 hours of a spin, depending upon what time I start. Because sometimes I'll forget in the morning that the turners are down here working, and I might not get down here to turn them off until sometime between 10 and 12, right? So I've not had any problems with the motors of them burning out or, causing any kind of issue down here. So they seem to be so far pretty good motors. But if you are interested, like I said, in building your own tumbler turner, is pretty cheap. You go to Home Depot or Lowe's, buy your wood. In the video, I tell you the size that I use, because I built the eight turner boards. But if you may want to only build a 1 or a 2 turner board, right? If you don't do a lot of epoxy, then just get a small piece of wood cut and just do 1. But if you think this is something that you're going to get into, then I will say build as large as you can, so you don't have to keep going back and buying more wood and rebuilding. So it's best to have more and you use less, right? Than to not have what you need. So again, once I post this link to this video, I'll also post a link to the video where I show you how to build your own board. And and if you have questions, need help, I don't mind helping with that as well. But want to try and get y'all in the mode and the mindset of, instead of running out and buying some of these expensive things, build it yourself, right? Save yourself some money. So with that being said, this is the whole process of it. So like I said, it's quick and easy. Once you have everything laid out, you'll let this spin. Don't touch it. Tomorrow, when I come down to turn this off in the morning, then I'll probably just let them sit here. And then probably tomorrow night, I'll take them off the spinner and bring them upstairs and let them finish curing. And then I'll put the pins together and they're ready to go. So with the ones that I have colored, what I'm going to do is start making a Mother's Day box and a graduation day box, right? Since graduation's coming up in May along with Mother's Day. And for those boxes, I will include a glitter pen. So I'm going to do like a journal, glitter pen, and then some other things, mugs and tumblers to put in the boxes as well, t-shirts, all that kind of stuff. So in the package with the journal, it will be a coordinated, color coordinated pen to go with whatever or however I build that journal cover. So are there questions?
So you're what you're putting together, your pack, you're gonna have like a sublimated journal.
Yes. So
Okay.
I'm going to either do sublimated journal or I'm going to create the journal myself, right?
Okay.
I create them also. And not sure if y'all seen the post, but I did put a post out there where I'm going to actually teach how to create 4 different types of journals versus you buying them, right? That is a paid class though. So because it's 4 different types that I'm teaching in that one. That is going to be held on, I want to say it's the 13th of March. I'll repost it, but I think it's the 13th on a Sunday. But otherwise, you can just do the small journal, the small leather one that you can sublimate, But I want to kind of give them a bigger one, make it a little bit more personable for them as well. So since it's kind of a big event from graduation to Mother's Day type thing, just give them something a little extra. But
And
don't forget,
that's what
no,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, that's what I'm having trouble finding is my printer for sublimation, something like an entry level, because everything is sold out everywhere. Where I look for like the Epsom Eco Tank is what I was
Right,
trying to start with.
right. And so if you go to my Thinkific site, I do have those free videos out there. And one of the videos I have is what do you need to sublimate? Now, I started out with the Epson 2760. It's kind of like an eco tank because you can pour your ink in it. It's no cartridges to replace. So you can actually pour the ink in there. But it only prints up to 8.5 by 14. Now they always seem to have those in stock because everybody else wants the ones that print up to a 13 by 19 or larger, right? So I started off with that one, worked very well, did what I need to do. And then of course, as I was able to find additional printers, that's when I went up in size. And I went up to the 7840, and that is the upgrade to the 7720. The problem with that one is it has cartridges. The cartridges with the chips on it. Now your 7710 and 7720s don't have chips, which is perfect because you can pour your ink in there. So if you can still find maybe on Facebook Marketplace, someone selling one of those, try and get that too, because you use it like an eco tank. The 7840 is a really good printer, but with those chips, so as your ink starts to run out, you have to go and buy a whole new cartridge just to get that chip off because they don't have a chip resetter for the 7840s yet. So you have to put a brand new chip on there. So it was becoming quite costly because I was doing a lot of printing and sublimation, and I was running to the store a couple times a month just to get some more cartridges. And I was like, no, this is just not going to work. So I finally found the 8550. So I have the 8550. It's the Epson 8550. And that one is an eco tank. It has 6 chambers, so 6 color chambers. So it gives you a photo black and a gray also, right? Now you have to put ink in all 6 in order for it to work. I get my ink from Cosmos Ink. They sell the photo black and the gray too. That's made for the 8550. You can find those at Office Depot, Best Buy. If you go on the website, it may say out of stock, but they're still letting you put it in your basket and pay for it because they're coming in. And that's what happened to me. I was able to put it in my basket, and I kid you not, 2 days I had that printer. So I think they actually have them in stock and they're trying to piece them out. Another good one is the 15,000 and the 16,000 or a 16.6, something like that. Those are really good too. So I've been seeing people post a lot that they're seeing them now in the stores as well as online. So yeah, so don't stop searching. Do Office Depot, Office Max, and Best Buy.
Okay.
Go on there every day. I guarantee you it'll pop up to where you'll be able to order.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. But so now I have that one. I have a 2760. I reconverted my 7840 back to an inkjet. So I use that just to print regular inkjet. Like when I'm doing cardstock and putting pictures on cardstock, I use that one. And I also have a smaller HP 2540 series that I use also as inkjet too for regular printing. So if you're gonna do water slides, sticker paper, then you want to make sure you're using your inkjet printers for that. Don't use sublimation for that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but like I said, I do have that video out there where I'm walking you through the various printers that I have, as well as what you can purchase, to kind of show you and help you out that way. But you'll find that
I'll look at your YouTube again then.
Yeah, go to that was on my Thinkific site. So when you go to Thinkific, Yeah, and I'll put the course link in there too. But
Okay, cool.
I post this video to send y'all that. I'll put the course link back to Thinkific, and there's a free section of classes that I have, and that the one that is called "What You Need to Sublimate." So in there, I walk through the printers, the paper, the product that you need to use, you know, all that kind of stuff. So as you have questions though, you know, reach out to me. And, you know, I don't mind searching too and let you know, oh, girl, I found a printer for you. So, you know, and I'm on the lookout now that I know that you need one.
Yes,
I'll be on
because
the
I'm like, I can't get past step one over here, but I'm disabled and trying to work off of that income. So I was
right,
like, I need an entry level, but this
right.
is something I definitely want to start. I have people who know I'm going to start and they're already like, well, I
Or place
want
orders.
this.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you the smaller one, which will print images up to 8.5 by 14, which is your Epson 2760. You can get that from Walmart or Target. So I purchased mine at
Okay.
Target. They're
Yeah.
$199.
Okay.
Yeah. It just starts to get up in price when you go for the larger print sizes, right? So the 8550 is like $699 or $749, something like that. The 16,000 or 16.6 by Epson for that Eco Tank, I want to say that's up in 7 something or 6 something also. So start off small. You know, if you
Yeah.
can print on the 8.5 by 11 or 8.5 by 14, multiple pages, and take those suckers together, then you'll
Right.
get a
That's so
sheet.
cool.
Yes.
Okay.
So you start off small and then work your way up. If you're getting a lot of business, let that business pay for that printer.
Right. That's what I plan on.
Yes.
Good. Okay.
Yes. Because you don't want to purchase too much equipment that's expensive and then you're
Right.
not really doing a lot with it, right? So
Yeah.
you pretty much wasted some money. So
Exactly.
yeah, start off small and move your way up.
Okay, thank
So
you. This is real
you're welcome.
informative. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Regina, did you say you can convert back the printer? Because I'm trying to, I ordered a 15,000, but it's not supposed to come until like April 25th.
Mm-hmm.
And I have the 2800 that
Right.
I'm sublimating off of, but I find if I can't do journals because I can't do borderless printing. So I have a very difficult time doing journals,
Right.
sublimating on journals. So I ordered the 15,000, but I didn't know that I could convert the
Yeah.
2,800
So
back.
you can convert it
Okay.
back. So all I did was I had just a little bit of ink, sublimation ink left in my bigger printer in the
Okay.
7040. I went and printed some manuals
Mhm.
so I could burn that ink out. Because like I had ran out, I think, of pink or yellow, or it was just really, really low. And I had quite a bit of black in there still. So I just printed everything on black and white. And I just printed this manual 2 times that emptied out all the cartridges, took them
Okay.
out, and I popped in the old inkjet cartridges that I did have that still had the chip on it. Worked like a charm. So
Okay,
I
great.
inkjet, yep, for that.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, just make sure you get all the ink out of the chamber and the cartridges. So just burn it, meaning print big jobs, you know, to just burn that ink out.
Okay, great. Thank
Yep.
you.
You're welcome. Other questions? If not, well, you can always email me or send me a text or whatever. I'll have this video posted as soon as it finishes uploading, going through this thing on Zoom. Then I'll send a link out on the page, you know, that it's available, and you can look at it again at your leisure so that you can finish your pens. And I'll also provide the link to my Thinkific for the free class of the printers and everything that I walk through, and the link to my YouTube for that particular video that will show you how to build your tumbler turners. So it's not hard, it's easy. Go get your supplies and one Saturday get down to it, you know, and make it. And you'll be very proud of yourself for doing it too. So again, I thank y'all for joining, and until next time, Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you too.
Okay, you're welcome. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Thank you.
You're welcome.